Comics helped me learn my ABCs, but when it comes to comic dub YouTubers, ABCs stands for abusers, bullies, and creeps. A few weeks ago, I got this comment, asking me to look into comic dubbers. Shout out, by the way, to this guy, whose name I really don't want to butcher, but as the weeks have gone on, that wasn't the only person with this suggestion. At this point, I've probably had suggestions nearing a dozen telling me to look over the exposures of the comic dubbing world. And to both my surprise and horror, I've found some channels that have kept me up at night ever since. So now it's my turn to share with the class. The question is, where do we start? And I think that there's no better place to begin than with the person that most of you recommended when I told you I was making a video about comic dubs. That being Cougar Macdowall. Now, for full clarity and transparency, this portion of the video could not be done without a video created by MioKiddoToons called Cougar Macdowall, the most hated comic dub YouTuber. This video will be linked down in the description below in case you want to hear a more expanded version of this tale. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to be trimming the edges and giving you the highlights, but a huge shout out to them. Their video was not only very informative, but also very fun. That said, first things first, I think I need to answer, who is Cougar Macdowall? Well, he's someone here on YouTube that creates voice acting and dubbing content. He's nearing on 4 million subscribers and has a combined total of over 2 billion channel views. So I really hope that by me uttering his name, I'm not going to get my ass chewed by his audience. But over the past several years, he's become one of the most controversial figures in the comic dub community, despite, arguably, being its most famous. This controversy can be traced back to Friday Night Funkin', an open source rhythm game where fans of the game make their own characters and add them in. One such fan was a creator known as Homeski, who made a character called Tabby, and Cougar Macdowall voiced this character in a mod. The mod, known as Versus Tabby Ex-Boyfriend, got very popular, and so the character of Tabby became well known. Homeski eventually decides to leave the internet and gives Cougar the character, putting him in charge of making an update to the Versus Tabby Ex-Boyfriend game. However, in March 2024, everything would change after a Twitter user known as Ascenti would post a Google Doc to the site. A Google Doc on the truth behind Versus Tabby's development. It's fairly short, so let's go through it. The post reads, I was one of the 4 people promoted to director role for Versus Tabby ever since November 2023. The mod had a history of having a lot of development hell with past directors. I thought my friends and I could help, to which Cougar agreed. Ever since I had that role, he has generally not communicated with the directors or the dev team unless we requested him to. Due to said lack of communication, I had to overwork myself, which generally caused me to sleep less and work more, simply due to him rarely communicating with us. The document went on to reveal that most of the workers were actually minors, meaning that this was now a little bit of a child labour issue. Apparently, Cougar didn't know their ages when they were hired, though he later found out. But worse, these people weren't big fans that his thumbnails on his channel depicted sexualized characters, despite many members of his fanbase being underage. The document included Discord screenshots of them calling him out for these sus thumbnails and showed Cougar Macdowall defending it. Shortly after this, Cougar came out with his own response to the document to dispute these claims. And long story short, Homeski, the guy that made the Tabby character, now wanted it back because of all this drama, going on to release a document of his own. His document concluded with this. This message is a call for your support. Currently, the person who was entrusted with the fate of the mod and who, instead of teamwork, shifted the development of the mod onto a couple of minors while sexualizing my character on YouTube thinks he can keep it. That's not the case. I'm forcefully taking back the rights of the character Tabby from Cougar Macdowall and asking you to stop supporting any content created by him involving Tabby, whether it's merch or anything else. All I want is to end the agonizing fate of my OC. Nothing more really. For better or worse, that was essentially the end of things. The Tabby game was never finished. In fact, as of about a week or so ago, as of the time I wrote this script, the game was officially cancelled, much to the dismay of all its fans. Even though a lot of them thought that it was already cancelled given everything that already happened. As for Cougar Macdowall, I decided to give his channel a look, and it turns out he's still up to the same tricks. These thumbnails are still quite extreme. But here's the thing, okay? At this point, I'm fairly desensitized to it. Because if you compare Cougar's thumbnails to that of the rest of the comic dub community, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Cougar's actually seem tame. What we're about to get into next is, I say this wholeheartedly, hand on the Bible, some of the most egregious content I have ever seen on YouTube. I cannot believe that people are getting away with this. If you want to see even worse thumbnails, then it's time to take a look at Koko's comics. This channel was recommended to me by Ishigu Miku Comics, who not only recommended that I look into comic dubs, but even gave me a list of channels to start with. I apologize in advance because a lot of the footage I'm showing today is going to be heavily censored, and that's because the channels here, they have thumbnails that are straight up porn. I guess I'll show on screen now some examples of thumbnails that I think I'll be able to get away with. Just know that these ones are on the tame end of the scale. I've written down a list of pretty egregious things that I've seen on these thumbnails, and they include girls drooling, shots, literal shots, and Akigao faces galore. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. But what might be even more disturbing than the fact that this channel has literal softcore Rule 34 porn in their thumbnails are the characters that are depicted in these thumbnails. Now, in a previous video, I think it was part 6 of my Animation series, I covered a channel that did inflation content, or as you guys very rightfully pointed out in the comments, vor content, involving characters from children's media, including Tails and Amy, who are canonically children. Koko's comics makes that one look like a saint in comparison. I mean, even in this very video, we've already discussed Cougar Macdowall's thumbnails, which in and of themselves got him a bunch of hate and backlash, but they're not even in the same ballpark compared to Koko's comics. They might be inappropriate given the people that watch Cougar's content, but at the very least, they're not outright graphic. I mean, I am utterly shocked with what they've gotten away with so far and how this channel has not been taken down. Listen closely now, because here is a list of just a few of the characters that I saw in their thumbnails. Naz from Ed, Edd and Eddy. Dipper, Mabel and Jessica from Gravity Falls. Nimona from Pokemon. Kim Possible. Gwen 10. Let me say that again for those in the back. Gwen 10. Ladies and gents, do you see the problem here? This comic dub channel has very clearly sexualized minor characters from children's media in their thumbnails. And these characters aren't even aged up. It's not like 20 to 30-year-old Naz from Ed, Edd and Eddy, or Gwen from the later series of Ben 10. I don't know how old she is, but at least she's older than whatever they show on their thumbnails. It's literally the original characters. Obviously, I understand there is the argument that these characters do not exist and therefore do not have ages. But if you've seen my video where I spoke about Ben the Looney, this is essentially the same thing. And the worst part is, this is such a distraction that it completely takes my focus and attention away from some of the other jiggery pokery that's going on this channel. There are other characters that are sexualized here that I haven't even spoken about. Characters such as Lola Bunny, Judy Hopps, the mum from The Amazing World of Gumball, and both Disgust and Joy from Inside Out. I feel like at this point, calling this kind of stuff out is just a losing battle. At the end of the day, these characters are associated with children's media. Okay, Inside Out, children's media. Looney Tunes, children's media. The Amazing World of Gumball is definitely children's media. I don't even have the energy to talk about the fact that he's got 2 rabbits on there. So I'm just going to move on to the next talking point I have about Koko's comics, because that's not even where it ends. Let me play you a short segment from one of their videos so you can see for yourself why I have even more issues with this channel.
Is the bottom too thin? I paid for the thicker fabric. We can return it in the morning if it's a problem.
No, no, no. It didn't hurt. I was surprised is all. No problems here.
That's not how I remember Grandpa Max from Ben 10. I forgot about the episode where they explained that he was raised in the manor from Downton Abbey. The voices that are used in Koko Comics dubs are very clearly AI generated. You guys know me by now. I have made several videos by this point discussing AI content. But what we essentially have here is an obscene thumbnail paired with an AI-generated nothing burger of a video, because they don't actually show anything. And I'm not saying that they should, okay? Before you start thinking that, I'm not saying they should show anything, okay? But everything not safe for work is cropped out, so why would you even watch it? And on top of that, the voice work, if you want to call it that, is the lowest of the low. The AI-generated voice isn't even good. If they wanted to put the slightest bit of effort into this video, they could go to a website and get Grandpa Max's voice to put it in the video. But instead we have this random posh British guy. And it's not me. This channel has no reason to exist. And it seems like people have finally realized that for themselves. Because the channel used to upload very prolifically, creating 47 videos in the span of 3 months. But it hasn't uploaded a new video since March 2025. It appears as though fans of Rith, or Rith, however you say his name, were active in the comments hating on him, so I have to imagine that this creator made a video on Koko's comics. And since his last upload, more than half a year ago, this channel has shown zero signs of life. Now, I focused on Koko's comics because that was the one that was recommended to me. If you're a fan of comic dubs, this won't be news to you, but if you're new to the community, I have to say right now that this is one of the most crazy corners of the internet I have ever encountered. Because Koko's comics seems to be just a single cog in this humongous machine. If you search up comic dub on YouTube, and I do not recommend for a moment that you do this, but if you do, the entire search is filled up with the most crass videos which have thumbnails that are ripped straight from Rule 34. I do genuinely feel for people that actually want to dub over comics for content without making it NSFW, because 90% of it is just softcore porn involving characters from children's media. Just by me looking up comic dub, the first 2 videos came from Yuka Comics, NSFW anime characters. The third video was uploaded by Banana Comic, NSFW thumbnails. The 4th video came from Blah Blah Comics, same deal. 5th video by Cats Comic Dub, same deal. The 7th video belonged to a channel called Sugar Comic, same deal. The 8th video was from Trytoon, same deal. I kept looking and it took me 13 videos before I found one which was not uploaded by a channel that does NSFW thumbnails. This niche isn't just NSFW friendly, it's been completely taken over. And on that note, I don't see things getting better for this video. In fact, I see things getting a lot worse in just a moment. But very quickly, we're about halfway through this now, so if you haven't already, please do not forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying yourself. If this video does well, I could do a part 2 if there are more channels to look at, and the easiest way to tell me that you want to see a part 2? Liking, subscribing, and commenting. So with that said, let's move on to a channel that both disturbs and terrifies me. Let's take a look at the comic dubs of the fluffy community. The main channel that we're going to be discussing for this segment is Gay Roommate 2020, and this channel was recommended to me by Bridget the Djinn, who did warn me that the content here was sick. Regardless, a huge shout out to Bridget. Now, looking into Gay Roommate's content, you'll notice that some of it seems off. Unfortunately, for reasons that we'll get into later, I can't show basically anything from Gay Roommate's channel. Unfortunately, you're going to have to stare at this ugly mug because I cannot show you what I'm talking about. But weirdly enough, it's not because of monetization. So you might be wondering, what kind of content does Gay Roommate 2020 even upload? Well, these videos depict what's called fluffy abuse. And it's about as bad as it sounds. And these show baby pony characters being chained down, beaten up, tortured, or neglected. A lot of the time they're pooping or peeing themselves. All sorts of bodily fluids and functions are on show. Gay Roommate voice dubs these comics, which makes it so that her channel definitely fits the criteria for this video. This content is not for the faint of heart. In fact, oftentimes it's quite graphic and gory. Now, I do want to give at least a little bit of credit where I can. The recent videos of Gay Roommate 2020 has had a warning card when you click on the video, saying that it's not suitable for young audiences. So that's at least something, but it's probably the only positive that I'm going to give to this channel. Because while the content here is beyond disturbing, based upon what I found online, the person behind the channel may be even more so. In one video I saw, the 3rd most popular on her channel, you have these fluffies giving birth to 6 foals, quite graphically might I add. It's also at the same time, and the mum is immediately separated from the children, who are then abused and have spikes attached to their legs. And this, compared to the rest of their content, is relatively tame. It's no surprise that these videos tend to see a lot of dislikes and comments protesting about how they find this content to be repulsive. When it comes to some of the most harmful people in society, a lot of the time we tend to see how they treat animals from an early age. I think one of the biggest indicators that someone will go on to harm other people is if they harm animals. Though this is virtual and simulated and it doesn't actually exist, I do genuinely have serious concerns about the sorts of people that watch this stuff. So I guess this is where I have to introduce you to the Fluffy community. These guys have been fairly well documented on YouTube over the years. I'm definitely not the first person to cover them, but essentially, fans of Fluffy content want to see these tiny little creatures get hurt and abused. According to a pinned post on the Fluffy subreddit, it claims that it's not a fetish. Which, I don't know, to me this does seem quite fetishy. But hey, I'm no expert. They claim that people watch this because of stress relief, gore, cuteness, or just plain absurdity. What Gay Roommate does is bring these comics to life through her voice acting, leading her channel to now approach 100,000 subscribers and having amassed more than 60 million views over the years. These animations are not hers, she just provides the voice for them. And to be honest, having seen these videos, I feel as though if I find any other Fluffy abuse channel, I will include it in an upcoming Animayhem video, because this is some of the craziest content I have ever seen on YouTube. That said, when it comes to Gay Roommate, her Fluffy abuse content isn't the only reason she's controversial. In August 2024, a YouTuber and live streamer known as Cold Raven created a video detailing how Gay Roommate had gone on a copyright abuse spree against him, with his channel receiving strikes. So let's see how he described what happened.
Essentially, if you guys aren't aware of what's happening before I get into the situation, I will effectively be leaving YouTube until further notice. No more live streams, no more content, no nothing. I'm sorry. This is what it has come to, and today I will effectively be doxxed. Today I'm gonna get doxxed. That's essentially what's gonna be happening today. Because what has happened, to make it very, very clear, I was talking about this thing called these fluffy pony content, and there's these comics. They're out online. Apparently, people like to draw ponies getting tortured, getting their skin ripped off, their eyes gouged out. Some ponies are baby ponies and they hit their penises with hot glue guns and their buttholes with hot glue guns, and people draw this stuff. It's a community, a very niche one. So I was talking trash about this community, making fun of them, because this is some very weird degenerative shit. Now, essentially, because I was talking trash about this community and I was reacting to their videos, and I want to make this very clear, I have it recorded of what parts I was reacting to and what parts got struck, and it was a 2-minute section in which the video was paused, and I'm talking about the video while it's paused. The video was paused, and the person named Gay Roommate 2020 still struck me with a copyright strike. Essentially, they have taken away my job. This is my main source of income. This is what you have to understand. This right here, this is what pays the bills. This is what keeps the lights on. This is what I have to do. I'm a YouTuber. They've effectively now been able to purge me off the website, so now I can't make money from live streaming.
Hearing what he had to say just breaks my heart. I feel like in this video you can really see what this has done to him. As he says, this is his source of income. Now, this backs up what a Reddit thread in the Fluffy community had to say about Gay Roommate, because as it turns out, even active members of this disgusting fan base hate her. According to this one post, which I cannot verify, so please do take it with a grain of salt, but it claims that she has a very fragile ego, got banned from the Fluffy community, and even went as far as doxing a young child, which is just awful. And to make matters even worse, because of these copyright issues, Cold Raven was essentially forced to give his details over to her to save his channel. If they haven't since, I think that YouTube seriously needs to look into the copyright process, because this is incredibly unsafe for creators. Not everyone that uses the copyright system has the best intentions at heart. In fact, abusing this system is incredibly rewarding for someone that wants power and control, because you are literally forcing people into giving their intimate details details over to you. And the fact that this person creates fluffy abuse content where power and control, I have to imagine, is the entire reason it exists, because these little fluffy things have zero power and zero control. I mean, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? You are literally granted people's home addresses if they want to work again. Do you know how insane that sounds? After learning about this, I reached out to Cold Raven and we had a little chat. This is what he had to say.
When I saw this, obviously, I'm like, yo, these people are fucking weird. You know what I'm saying? So I started making fun of them, started talking mad trash. Yo, I was running my fucking mouth, yo, I ain't gonna hold you. And when I was saying all this shit, essentially what happened was, there was this person named Gay Roommate. Didn't take too kindly. I want to clarify, she's almost 40 years old and she is, from what I know, an elementary school teacher. So she's doing all this weird shit, doing all these fucking voiceovers, grown-ass woman going like this. This is what she says. Here is a direct quote. I make the biggest poopies and biggest stinky winkies mamas want, biggest milkies in my bibis. And this is what this fucking grown woman is saying. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, she's cracked out. Crazy. This is her response. It's not weird because it's fake and that no one should be offended. And I thought to myself, okay, that's a pretty good point. So you wouldn't be mad if I made a comic of these ponies pooping on your head. Just to troll her. It was just trolling, right? I do a little bit of trolling. And I was like, all right, cool. You know, the idea of the comic was the ponies are going to take revenge. You know, she's been making all these comics of her killing the ponies, ripping their guts out, crazy shit. So I'm like, all right. In this comic, they're gonna kick you in your kneecap and poop on your head. You know, it's stupid. That shit pissed her off. Oh, she lost it. She was fuming. She made like 20 community posts. She struck my channel. It was like 9 o'clock at night. I got, you know, the first plane hit the first tower. And then the second tower got knocked when I woke up that morning. I was like, oh shit. Had 2 strikes. And then she was talking to other people in the community to false strike me as well, because it was another strike from somebody else. So I had to private all my videos and I had to private my streams because people were coming into my comment section telling me that they were going to copyright strike anything, even if it was like a picture of like Superman that I threw in a corner. They were going to copy just to take down the channel, even though it'd be momentarily, which obviously as a YouTuber that can do a lot of harm. So I was like, yo, let me chill out. And I made that video where I made a call to action and people came out to help. A lot of people, Turkey Tom, Center to Society, and a bunch of other YouTubers, you know, were like helping me out, retweeting, showing love, Diesel Patches as well. And I really appreciate that shit because they didn't have to. Again, I'm a small time nobody. They really didn't have to do that for me. So that love went a long way. So what happened after that, you know, I made these streams. I was talking about it. YouTube took my side. That got that bitch fucking fuming again. She started making more community posts. She then said something about me and her having sex. She made a community post saying that I would want to fuck her because she's a gay roommate. I guess that was supposed to be a joke, calling me gay. I don't know what to do with that. She then started saying that, you know, all this other. She just pissed off that she couldn't take me down. And I just let things be. I was like, all right, I'm gonna let things ride out. And obviously I ditched the comic to the side to avoid any further issues. Here's the thing. The way I found the loophole, because she was trying to take down my channel so she can, like, you know, when you send out a copyright strike, you have to put your address in there.
Yeah,
right?
Something I was going to ask actually. Did you send her your address?
No. I sent it to the post office box like 3 towns over. So you can go and send that shit over there.
On a more positive note, I can confirm that Cold Raven's channel is now back to normal. On a livestream made on the 31st of August 2024, he confirmed that YouTube had taken his side in the drama and removed his channel strikes. And so this saga finally came to a close. And the same thing can be said for this video. But if you guys enjoyed it, definitely make sure to check out my video on when FNAF scandals get exposed. In that one, I discuss a comic creator known as Pinky Pills, whose comic depicting William Afton as a pedo got her in a tremendous amount of trouble. And the worst part is, that's only like the 4th or 5th most controversial thing that she ever did. By clicking on the screen right now, you absolute legends. Aside from that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.